Your brain can survive without food for weeks, but take away sleep, and within days, it begins to break itself apart. At first, it feels harmless. You tell yourself you'll just stay up a little longer, finish the work, watch one more episode, scroll a little more. Your eyes burn, your thoughts slow, but you push through. After all, it's just sleep. You can catch up later, right? But deep inside your skull, something far more serious has already begun. Your brain, the most complex organ in your body, is quietly slipping into chaos. Sleep is not a luxury. It is not a passive state where the brain switches off. In fact, sleep is one of the most active and essential processes your brain performs. Every night, while your body lies still, your brain begins an intricate routine. It repairs damaged cells, strengthens memories, balances emotions, and perhaps most importantly, cleans itself. Yes, cleans. Throughout the day, your brain generates waste products, tiny toxic proteins, and metabolic debris that build up as a natural result of thinking, moving, and simply being alive. During deep sleep, a specialized system often called the brain's cleaning network flushes these toxins out using cerebrospinal fluid, almost like a nightly detox. But when you don't sleep, that cleaning never happens. And the consequences begin almost immediately. After just 24 hours without sleep, the first cracks appear. Your brain starts to resemble that of someone who is intoxicated. Reaction times slow. Focus weakens. Simple decisions become harder than they should be. You might reread the same sentence again and again, unable to process it. Conversations feel foggy. Your thoughts lose their sharpness. This happens because the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logic, decision-making, and self-control, begins to shut down. It's not completely offline, but it's struggling, like a computer running too many programs at once. Meanwhile, your memory system takes a hit. The hippocampus, a small but crucial structure deep in your brain, is responsible for forming new memories. Without sleep, it cannot do its job properly. Information comes in, but it doesn't stick. You may experience this as forgetfulness, confusion, or the strange sensation that nothing you learn is truly being absorbed. And then there are your emotions. Sleep deprivation amplifies your emotional responses. The amygdala, the brain's fear and stress center, becomes hyperactive. Small problems feel overwhelming. Minor annoyances spark disproportionate anger. You may feel anxious, irritable, or strangely sensitive. It's not just in your head. It's your brain losing control of its own balance. Push further, stay awake for 36 to 48 hours and the situation escalates. Now your brain begins to malfunction in a more dangerous way. It starts taking microsleeps. These are brief, involuntary lapses in consciousness that last just a few seconds. You may not even realize they are happening. One moment you're awake, the next your brain shuts down, just long enough to reset itself, and then you're back again. But during those seconds, you are effectively unconscious. Imagine driving. Imagine crossing a busy street. Imagine making an important decision. Your brain is no longer fully under your control. At the same time, your attention becomes unpredictable. You may feel alert one moment and completely blank the next. This isn't random, it's your brain trying to perform maintenance tasks while you're still awake. The systems that should only activate during sleep begin intruding into your waking life. Your thoughts fragment. Your reactions lag. Your judgment weakens. And the longer you stay awake, the worse it gets. After 48 to 72 hours, your brain enters a state of severe stress. At this point, reality itself begins to blur. Your ability to think clearly deteriorates dramatically. You may struggle to follow simple conversations or complete basic tasks. Words don't come easily. Ideas slip away before you can fully grasp them. It's as if your mind is breaking into pieces. Your senses also begin to distort. Lights may seem too bright. Sounds too sharp. Objects may appear slightly altered, moving when they shouldn't, shifting in ways that don't quite make sense. Your brain, overwhelmed and exhausted, starts misinterpreting the world around you. Emotionally, you are no longer stable. Anxiety rises. Irritability turns into anger. Or, in some cases, emotional numbness sets in, a strange detachment where you feel disconnected from everything. This is no longer just tiredness. This is neurological instability. Cross the 72-hour mark, and the brain begins to unravel. Hallucinations can appear. You might see shapes that aren't there, hear voices or sounds that have no source. Shadows may move in your peripheral vision. Your brain, deprived of its essential reset, begins generating its own version of reality. This is where sleep deprivation starts to resemble psychosis. Your thoughts become disorganized. You may struggle to distinguish what is real from what is imagined. Paranoia can creep in. Simple reasoning becomes nearly impossible. At this stage, your brain is not just tired. It is failing. But what exactly is happening inside your brain during all of this? The answer lies in several overlapping processes, each contributing to the gradual breakdown. First, there is the buildup of toxins. Without sleep, harmful proteins accumulate in the brain. Second, there is disrupted communication between brain regions. Your brain relies on precise coordination between different areas to function properly. Sleep deprivation weakens these connections. Third, there is cellular stress and damage. Every day, your brain cells endure wear and tear. Sleep is when they repair themselves. And finally, there is the imbalance of brain systems. Your brain operates on a delicate balance between activity and recovery. When you stay awake too long, that balance collapses. Eventually, something breaks. If sleep deprivation continues over days, weeks, or months, the effects become more permanent. Your cognitive abilities decline. Memory weakens. Concentration becomes difficult. You may find it harder to learn new things or retain information. Emotionally, the impact deepens. Chronic sleep deprivation is strongly linked to depression and anxiety. Without proper rest, the brain cannot regulate mood effectively. Stress hormones remain elevated. Emotional resilience disappears. Over time, the consequences of sleep deprivation extend far beyond simple fatigue. The brain, when consistently denied proper rest, begins to face an increased risk of serious neurological conditions. Scientific research suggests that chronic sleep loss may accelerate the aging process of the brain itself. Instead of maintaining its normal pace of repair and renewal, the brain starts to deteriorate more quickly. This raises the likelihood of developing neurodegenerative diseases, conditions that gradually damage and destroy brain cells. In essence, without its nightly recovery cycle, the brain is forced to function in a worn-down state, slowly losing efficiency and resilience. And yet, despite these risks, there is a hopeful truth. The brain is remarkably adaptable and resilient. Even after periods of sleep deprivation, it has the ability to recover, if given the chance. When proper sleep is restored, cognitive functions begin to improve. Focus sharpens, memory starts to rebuild, and emotional balance gradually returns. The fog lifts, and the brain begins to regain its natural rhythm. However, recovery is not immediate. It takes time for the brain to repair the damage caused by missed sleep. Several nights of consistent, high-quality rest may be needed before normal function is fully restored. And in cases of prolonged sleep deprivation, some effects, especially those related to memory and emotional regulation, may take longer to heal. The deeper the deprivation, the longer the recovery. So why does something as simple as sleep hold such profound power over the brain? Because sleep is not just rest. It is the critical period when the brain resets itself, clearing out toxic waste, strengthening neural connections, and preparing for another day of thinking, learning, and experiencing the world. Without this process, the brain cannot sustain itself. Instead, it begins to break down. At first, the changes are subtle, a slower reaction, a missed detail, a slight lapse in memory. But over time, those small cracks widen. Thinking becomes harder. Emotions become unstable. Reality itself can begin to blur. The next time you consider skipping sleep, remember this. Within hours, your brain will slow down. Within days, it may begin to distort reality, and given enough time, it can lose its grip entirely. Sleep is not optional. It is survival. And your brain depends on it far more than you realize. Subscribe now, because the human brain still holds secrets you're not ready to ignore.